4 years ago, the world watched a team from North Africa knock out Spain, then Portugal, and become the first African nation in history to reach a World Cup semi-final. And everyone agreed on what to call it: a miracle, a fairy tale, a once-in-a-lifetime run that would never ever happen again. Well, it's happening again. A few days ago, Morocco went to penalties against the Netherlands, one of the giants of European football, and knocked them out of the World Cup. They went through their group unbeaten in a group that contained Brazil. In fact, they took a point off Brazil, the first they've ever taken from them, and battered them for half an hour while doing it. 12 shots in 30 minutes against Brazil. And here's the thing nobody wants to say out loud. When something happens once, it's a miracle. When it happens twice, it's not a miracle anymore. It's a system. So today I want to show you what Morocco actually built. Because once you see it, you'll stop asking how they keep doing this and start asking why every other country isn't copying them. But first, you need to understand how impossible this particular run should have been, because this time, Morocco didn't just face better opponents, they faced something that kills national teams from the inside. On the 5th of March 2026, 3 months before the World Cup, Walid Regragui resigned. The architect of the 2022 miracle, the most successful coach in the history of African football, gone 90 days before the biggest tournament on earth. Ask any football fan what happens when a national team loses its legendary manager 3 months before a World Cup. Chaos, collapse, players falling out, a tournament written off before it begins. That's the script. That's always the script. And to make it even more absurd, look at who they replaced him with. Mohamed Ouabi, 49 years old, a man who had never been a professional player, a man who had never, not once, been the head coach of a senior team. His entire career was spent coaching kids, 17 years of it in the youth academies of Anderlecht in Belgium. On paper, it's madness. A youth coach with zero senior experience handed the golden generation of African football 3 months before a World Cup. Except Morocco knew exactly what they were doing. Because here's what that youth coach did in October 2025, just months before his promotion. He took Morocco's under-20s to the World Cup title. Along the way, his kids beat the United States. Then they beat France, on penalties. Then they beat Argentina 2-0 in the final. Only the second African side ever to win the Under-20 World Cup. The man they hired has never lost a tournament in his life. And now at this World Cup, he still hasn't. Unbeaten through the group, past the Netherlands on penalties. The risky appointment is starting to look like the smartest hire in world football. And that's your first clue that this isn't luck, because a country that panics doesn't promote its youth coach. A country with a system does. Morocco didn't go shopping for a famous name. They promoted from within because the man coming up had been building the next generation inside the exact same machine. So let's open up that machine, because it has 3 parts and each one is quietly brilliant. Part 1. The diaspora. 19 players in this Morocco squad were born in Europe. Read that again, 19 of 26. Born in France, in Spain, in Belgium, in the Netherlands. The sons of Moroccan families who emigrated, raised inside the best football academies on the planet, and then convinced to come home and play for the country of their blood. The captain, Achraf Hakimi, one of the best defenders alive, born in Madrid. Brahim Diaz of Real Madrid, born in Malaga, and he actually played for Spain before switching to Morocco. Their newest gem, an 18-year-old midfielder from Lille, was raised in northern France and switched his nationality just weeks before the squad was named. Even the new head coach grew up in Brussels. Morocco understood earlier and better than almost anyone that their real talent pool was never just inside their borders. It was scattered across Europe, sitting in French and Dutch and Spanish academies waiting to be asked. If you watch my video on Cape Verde, you know this is the great hidden trend of this World Cup. Morocco is simply its most devastating example. Part 2. The pipeline. Because harvesting the diaspora only gets you so far. You also have to grow your own. And a few years ago, Morocco built one of the most advanced football academies in Africa, poured money into youth development, and started producing world-class teenagers at home as well as abroad. The proof? The Under-20 World Cup title. You don't win a Youth World Cup on borrowed players. You win it because the production line works. And then, this is the beautiful part. They promoted the man who ran that production line to run the whole thing. Part 3. Continuity. 9 players from the 2022 semi-final squad are at this World Cup. Bunu in goal. Hakimi as captain, now with nearly 100 caps. Amrabat in midfield. The spine of the miracle still intact, 4 years wiser, surrounded by the next wave the pipeline produced. No panic rebuilds, no golden generation wasted. Just layer added on top of layer. Diaspora. Pipeline. Continuity. That's the machine. That's how you take a miracle and turn it into a habit. And the results since 2022 back it up completely. Morocco qualified for this World Cup with a perfect record, 8 games, 8 wins, 22 goals scored, 2 conceded, first African nation to book their ticket. They arrived ranked 8th in the world, 8th, above Italy, above Germany by some measures of form. This is not an underdog anymore, and honestly calling them one is starting to feel disrespectful. So now they stand in the round of 16. Tomorrow, Houston against Canada, a team they already beat at the last World Cup. Win that and they're 1 game from matching 2022. Win 2 and they've gone further than any African team in history, again. And look, let's be honest, as always, Canada are hosts, they're organised, and knockout football is cruel. Morocco needed penalties to get past the Dutch, and penalties are a coin flip. This could all end tomorrow afternoon. That's football. But here's what can't end tomorrow: the machine. Because whatever happens against Canada, Morocco has already proven the point. 2 World Cups in a row deep in the knockouts, a Youth World Cup in the cabinet, a coaching succession that worked seamlessly, a production line that keeps delivering. And in 2030, the World Cup comes to Morocco itself as co-hosts, with all of this infrastructure 4 years stronger. In 2022, the world called Morocco a fairy tale. That was the mistake. Fairy tales don't happen twice. Systems do. And the scariest part for everyone else? This system is just getting started.